Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's tutorial. Today we are going to be working with a collection from Simple Stories called My Valentine, and we have also included here these like strip stickers, and then of course the 12x12 collection kit that includes the 12x12 sticker sheet, and then we've also included the bits and pieces. Okay, so we're going to be making 4 pages today plus a bonus page. So we have 4 sheets of cardstock. So I use Stampin' Up cardstock, 2 Sahara sand, and 2 blushing bride. And so we're going to be using Cutting Guide A today, which is like our classic like 4-page tutorial. The one probably the simplest and most beginner friendly. And so just going through the papers here, this 12x12 collection kit has 12 pattern papers, and they are all double-sided, a different pattern on each side. And then I think there is 3 or 4 papers that are dedicated on one side to like squares or like journaling cards, which we do use in this video. So I did put these off to the side, and I cut them up and we used them on our pages, and you could also use that for like cards or like pocket pages later on. So as we go through the thought process here for selecting our papers, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take out all of these 3 journaling card papers. I do like the back side of this 2x2 elements here, these hearts. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this one as part of my selections. And I'm going to put these 3 off to the side, and I'm going to cut them up to use on our pages a little bit later on. So we need 4 background papers, and we need 2 accent papers. Now the accent papers need to be like, we're gonna see both sides in them, so you have to make sure that it works on both sides, that they're able to be seen. Now with Simple Stories, what they tend to do with their vintage kind of collections is that they kind of have these background papers that really sort of have almost like a border to them, or they have like a background that isn't necessarily just like one repetitive pattern. So that first background paper I'm going to utilize sort of has a lot of elements on the left hand side of the page, so we're going to go ahead and put that to the side and use that as a background paper. I also really like, so right now I'm just kind of like flipping through the papers and picking the side that I like the best. And some of these characters here look very cartoon-like, and like I tend to like my old style looking stuff to be like very like regal colors or pastel kind of colors, not like colors like this paper here with the hearts with the 2 characters on the front. I don't really like that kind of vintage look where it's like sort of cartoon-like. So my other background page I picked at the top there sort of has like flowers at the bottom, sort of like a very understated center area, and then some more flowers along the top. And then I chose that plaid based paper for my first accent paper, and I really did like this typewriter type of paper as my second accent. And then that plainer heart pink paper, I like that as a background as well. I like that it wasn't too busy. And then that doily heart pattern paper is what I chose for my final background paper. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We have cutting diagrams in my tutorial videos, and I just kind of want to let you know how to read them. So there's the number in top in inches, and that's gonna be the size that we're going to cut that cut piece into, and there's a number below it in a circle. So a lot of the times we're making 4 pages or 6 pages, when we're using these cutting diagrams, and all these cut pieces can sort of get very disorganized. So that number inside of the circle there represents a pile that you're going to put that cut piece into. So for a 4-page tutorial, we're going to make 4 piles, and for a 6-page tutorial, we're going to make 6 piles. So the numbers are going to be either 1 through 4 or 1 through 6. So page 1 is going to have all the cut pieces that have a circle with the number 1 inside, and so on for the 4 or 6 pages. So now we're going to go ahead and take all pieces of our cardstock, and we are going to cut 1 inch in, 1 inch from the top, and 1 inch from the bottom, and we're going to make a straight line on all 4 sides of each of these pieces of cardstock. What we're basically doing is cutting a 10 by 10 inch square out of the center of this piece of cardstock. The border is going to be put into our pile, and the center, the 10 by 10 inch center, is going to be put to the side, and we're going to be cutting it with another cutting diagram as soon as we're done cutting out all of these squares. So because these backgrounds are not your typical randomly based backgrounds, we are going to be cutting all of these a little bit differently. If you can't really follow along with how I'm cutting my papers, the safest thing to do would be to cut like a 1/4 inch off all 4 sides, and then they would be even. And then for the page that has most of the elements on the left hand side, you could easily just cut a 1/4 inch off the top and a 1/4 inch off the bottom, along with 1/2 inch on the right hand side of the paper. Okay, so with this background paper, I feel like we don't really need to utilize maybe our cut up accent papers as much. We can kind of leave the background showing more, because it sort of frames the page just with the background pattern itself. So I'm playing around here with our additional cut pieces, and I just decided we don't need them. Now I'm going to put them off to the side anyway, because I might decide later on that we want to use them. And again, here the same thing, I really want to see that patterning on that background paper. So I'm going to change up the layout And we're not going to use that pink cardstock. We might use it on another page a little bit later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and utilize my cut pieces in a different way than it says in the cutting guide. And I like that we can just play around and do something a little bit different. So here on our layout number 1, we kept it fairly, like we kept it the same as what it is in the cutting guide. I am going to move this 4x6 photo over a little bit and utilize a 3x4 journaling card beside it. And the die cut pieces that were in the bits and pieces are very, very nice. Sorry, we have a shadow on the screen. I must have had my pot lights on. But I really love, I really want to use like those border strips that are on that separate sticker sheet. And this one in particular does have like a photo area that is built into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pop up where that photo area is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put foam tape around it. That way it sticks off, it doesn't stick to the page. And I'm going to stick everything else on that border and down directly onto the page, just so that I can slip in my 2x2 inch photo after. If you have your photo ready, you might not necessarily have to do this, but I did like the look of the center of it being popped off the page and the rest of it being adhered directly to the page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a second 3x4 journaling card, but in a horizontal way underneath that border piece, just to kind of create like one gigantic cluster below and onto the side of that 4x6 photo area. If you don't want to use a 2x2 photo, you could definitely just put like a titling in there, like hugs and kisses, or love you, or even like one of the hearts that has some wording inside of it. You could easily put that inside of that 2x2 framed area, just to bring some focus to those words. Okay, and layout number 2 here, we did the same thing. We changed up the layout, but we didn't eliminate any cut pieces. And here what I'm doing is I'm just gonna use this banner sticker, and what I did is I went ahead and adhered it directly to the page, and then above it and below that 3x4 photo area I popped up this titling that says True Love, and then I thought it needed a little bit something extra along the top, so I wanted to utilize like that bluish color and say My Sweetheart, and then I wanted like 2 more elements on the page that were sort of framing that 3x4 and 4x6 photo area that were still that blue color, that bluish green color. So I popped up this ticket, or I adhered this ticket that says XOXO, and then put a You and Me popped up candy heart. Okay, so for our 4th layout here, I just went ahead and sort of used those photo areas to sort of cluster the embellishments around, and it's super simple and fast. I just basically tucked things in underneath the photo areas and put a titling in, and then put a couple butterflies on it, and I let the background sort of fill the whole left side of that page there. So just kept it super simple and used a bit of layering, and really sort of made the pictures be like the center focus, and then create like your embellishments around those photo areas. Okay, so what I like to do with like butterflies especially is just put an adhesive directly down the center of the butterfly, and then like basically fold the butterfly in half so that the wings sort of stick up. Now you could put like foam tape without adhering it on the outsides of the wings if you wanted it to stay popped up, because it will flatten out a little bit in your page protectors, but I don't worry about that too much. Okay, and here for our 3rd layout, again it's sort of similar to the previous layout. I just kind of used those photo areas as the center focus and then clustered around them, and I let the background sort of help create a layer, I guess, with embellishments on top of it. And it's sort of just the way that the background paper was designed, I feel like it really frames in the page, so you don't need a lot of stuff other than a few elements around your pictures. So I went ahead and popped up both of those little cluster stickers. One says hello love and the other one says you are loved, and I put them at the bottom of both of those pictures, and then I just sort of clustered some flowers around them and underneath them, along with that pink envelope there. I really love that. And then I tucked in this bigger element that says sweetheart at the top, just to kind of fill the corner between the 3x4 and 4x6 photo. Now, we did have one more 12x12 pattern paper in the collection kit that I just loved, and I felt like when I looked at this paper, it looked like all you had to do was put a picture on it. Like, it already was a background paper that just looked so good. So I took that spare piece of pink cardstock from one of our pages that we didn't use it on, and I just created a mat behind this 3x5 photo area, and then I just flipped over one of my 4x6 and 4x4 journaling cards, and I layered that behind this 3x5 photo area, and then tucked in some of these die cut flower pieces. And then I also tried to incorporate some of like that bluish green kind of color with the envelope, and a couple of these hearts that I want to pop up. And then from the sticker sheet that had like those border like cluster strips on them, I just took one of them here that I thought would fit really well at the bottom of this photo area. And so instead of a titling, I'm gonna utilize this, and I didn't want to put like another 2x2 sized picture here. So what I did is I went ahead and filled the back of it with the same pattern paper that was on the back of the 4x4 journaling cards, and I'm going to use that as sort of like a background, and we're going to pop up like a titling sort of in that rectangle area. Okay, so I went ahead and popped up this heart. This is always and forever. And then I found another heart that was the same color but smaller to put on the other side of the 3x5 photo area, and it says sweet, and I layered that on top of a tag that says loved. And then I finished it off here with a titling that says a love story, and just kept it super simple, and it was done. It was like, it literally took only a couple minutes to make this whole layout, but you can kind of do that when you have really awesome paper to work with.